we had the experience of having worked in big organizations and having worked for several big ticket clients. That experience helped us motivate and gave the right tools for us to push our little firm to a place where it is right now. We are awarded as 40 architects under 40 to be watched out for in the year 2023. We will take up one of your projects and then we will redesign it in such a way that we would reimagine it from our perspective.
Nice.
And we will give you a proposal. And then you evaluate based on the amount of ideas and kind of ideas that we bring into the table. Architecture is a response to two things primarily.
Okay.
One is your surroundings, the second thing is the people.
So how do you go about charging your client?
All right.
Hello and welcome to Success Secrets, a podcast of its kind where we interview entrepreneurs in and around Chennai to learn their recipe for success. Today with us, we have an architect from an award-winning architectural firm, and it is our honor to interview him on this platform. Kannan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sankesh, for having me here.
So Kannan, tell me, how did this journey of being an architect to being the backbone, or rather being the face of an award-winning architectural firm come about?
All right. When I was in my architecture school, there was one thing that was very certain for both me and my wife. We both come from a background where we don't have a lot of people in construction activities. By a lot of people, I mean zero. So we don't have anybody from the construction background in either of our families, which meant one thing, that we had to entirely rely upon the knowledge that we had consumed in college. So that made us work harder during our college.
Superb.
So once we got out of the college, I went to work for Larsen & Toubro, L&T Construction, one of India's biggest construction company. So there I worked for about 6 years, having worked on several large-scale projects like international airports, aircraft hangars, sports complexes, condos, industrial buildings, and whatnot. These are the kind of large-scale buildings that I was exposed to. On an average, we'll be working on projects ranging from 400 to 4,000, 5,000 crores, and national, international clients working on different kinds of codes and rules. So that was what I learned from L&T, and from there, that was my journey. And my wife, on the other hand, we completed architecture together, and she went on to Delhi to do her master's in landscape architecture. Okay. So she completed her landscape architecture, and then she went to work for about 3 to 4 years in Delhi itself. She again got experience in working with several big ticket clients like 3M, Jindal, and of the sorts.
Awesome.
So after about 6 years, we decided to get married, and then we started Habitat Design Studio. We had the experience of having worked in big organizations and having worked for several big ticket clients. That experience helped us motivate and gave the right tools for us to push our little firm to a place where it is right now.
Amazing. So I've mentioned to our clients, our audience, that you are an award-winning architectural firm. Can you please touch upon the awards that you've won so far, and which has been the most prestigious award of all these?
When we were in college, the first big award that we won was a quiz competition, an architectural quiz competition, where me and my partner, we won the national champions of that quiz competition.
Awesome.
And after we graduated, we also participated in the architect version of the same quiz competition, not the student version anymore. So we won the national championship in that too. So that was some of the early awards that we received. But as a firm, we started working from 2015 as a firm, as Habitat Design Studio. We started working on several buildings, and then it took us a lot of work from that to get to a place where we can talk about our works to a level where it can be recognized by people of certain stature.
Brilliant.
And one of the awards which we are really proud of is the one that was given to us at Bangalore. We were awarded as 40 architects under 40 to be watched out for in the year 2023.
Amazing.
So that is something which we are proud to talk about. Yes.
That is amazing. Well, congratulations on all these laurels. Certainly adds a lot to your credibility, and I think that credibility is also built on the foundation that you guys have had with working with L&T and your wife and partner working on some big clients.
Yes, certainly, because when you're working for a very, very big company and they have a lot of systems and processes which you naturally imbibe from them.
Brilliant.
And there are several things which we have learned along the way. And once we have started our own firm, so imagine this, we have designed buildings that are really, really big, so huge. And then when we have to start thinking about an 800 square foot house, look at the things that we had to unlearn.
Right.
We started off in our own apartment, in our own living room. We moved the living room furniture into our bedroom, and then our living room became our workspace. Just the two of us. We were having the fun of our lives. We were working it out. We were making iterations. We were making fun of the whole exercise. Was really, really fun. And after that, we started slowly expanding the number of clientele, and we employed people. And from there, we moved on to a single room office, and from there we moved on to a commercial space. And from there, right now we have our own office space, and right now we're a team of about 10 people who are working in a space that we designed for ourselves. And
Awesome.
The journey has been really incredible.
That is amazing. What in this journey from 2015, so we are in 2025 right now. So 10 years, I think you celebrated your work anniversary not so long ago at the time of recording this, this episode. So tell us, in these 10 years, what has been your proudest moment, apart from winning all the awards? Of course, we have already touched upon that, but what has been the most proudest moment of yours, and which has been the best project that you've worked on in these 10 years?
Okay, I can think of two really, really proud moments. One of the moments that I can, one of the projects that I can talk about in terms of our career is we were working on a project. It was a very, very prestigious and very unique project, actually. L&T Construction, the place where I used to work, so they invited us for a meeting, and then they just started opening the whole thing, like saying, our division is coming up with a sewage treatment plant. All right, okay.
Super.
So now, sewage treatment plant, people, when they hear this word, people close their noses, shy away, they don't even look at this particular thing. And this is something which I wanted to change. That was the statement.
Good.
And we were like looking at each other, and then like, okay, this is new. So then they were actually very serious about this whole thing. No, tell me what we can do about it. So then we understood that they were actually really, really serious about it. See, these guys were deep inside the sewage treatment plant industry for several years, and we don't even know about ABCs of what treatment is about.
Right.
So imagine when they are asking us to tell us a way in which we can make the whole thing palatable visually and movement-wise palatable. So we had to go back to understanding how water treatment works. So we asked them for a time of about 3 weeks, in which we interviewed several people. We understood in depth of what water treatment works, and then what we offered was, we will take up one of your projects, and then we will redesign it in such a way that we would reimagine it from our perspective.
Nice.
And we will give you a proposal. And then you evaluate based on the amount of ideas and kind of ideas that we bring into the table. So when after the 3 weeks, when we made this idea, so 10 minutes into the presentation, this guy stops us.
Okay.
And then he tells, no, I want my boss also to come join us.
Okay.
And he calls his boss out to join. That gentleman, he joins in about another 10-15 minutes, and then we started the whole presentation over. And all this while, we were actually having fun from our side. Okay. So we know that we have put in the hard work,
right,
but then this is something which is unprecedented. Okay, we are running on uncharted waters here. So we were making the really fun presentation, and these people really loved the idea.
Awesome.
It was based on one single idea, that water treatment is a public works project.
Correct.
And in a public works project, if you take the public out of public works, what is the point of having the building? So our idea was to put the public back in public work. So this simple idea made all the difference, and this idea transcended into such a magnificent level where now Bombay municipality and big bodies like that, they are insisting that a certain amount of green area needs to be left as open area in public projects. So these kind of things are happening after our idea. So that is something which is making us really proud.
So basically, you have reset the benchmark for certain types of projects, in this industry, right?
Yes.
Amazing. That's why I said I am so proud to have an award-winning architecture firm's architect over here. Kannan, that is definitely very, very inspiring. I'm sure a lot of young entrepreneurs, let alone young entrepreneurs, I think a lot of young architects who are probably watching this episode would be inspired by that. So you spoke to about us. You spoke to us about one of these projects. What was the kind of impact it left on you? Because you already told the kind of impact that it has left on other bodies. But what was the kind of impact it left on you?
Okay.
As a firm or as personally, I don't mind. Like whichever you're comfortable sharing.
Yes, it was a really deep impact which that project created, because it was one of those moments which makes you feel that you are good enough and you have a standing where the industry leaders are there and you are also there and you can speak their language. It gave us that kind of conviction where you are no smaller than any of these thinkers, and it gave us the conviction and the platform and things that followed that in terms of the kind of projects that we were getting, in terms of the kind of connections that we were getting. That was amazing too, because this created a certain it hit on a level where we got connected to a different whole set of people, and our entire circle started expanding from this point of time.
Brilliant. So you just you in a way you let your thought process and creativity merge at a point and bring out the best, which probably elevated you to a circle which you are very, very proud of. Can we put it that way?
Yes, because the way we see it, architecture is a response. Architecture is a response to two things primarily. Okay. One is your surroundings, and the second thing is the people. Surroundings includes climate, includes materials, includes all the other things that are impacting your building. And the second thing is people. The way people behave, the way people think, the way people act, their culture, their traditions, their lifestyle, their day in, day out, what they do, and the activity, the function of it.
Right.
So when these two things have a certain way of being done, and what is that one thing that you can do to make sure that these things coexist in the most harmonious way? Our firm is called Habitat Design Studio, and there is a reason why we named it such, because habitat is one of the most conducive. Habitat is, by definition, it's a place where any organism can live, thrive, and perform at its peak. So when we call ourselves Habitat Design Studio, we indirectly tell people, or rather directly tell people, that we design such habitats for them.
Brilliant.
No matter what the function is.
Brilliant. Thank you for answering that question, because that was going to be one of my next questions. But thank you for throwing light on that. So let's come back to some of the very basic questions that people may have. Like the first question I want to shoot is why would you need an architect? Like if there's a person and he just comes up and says, bro, I have 1,000 square feet space, it's an empty plot of land, I know what I want, I'll probably use maybe a contractor and just build it. Why do I even need an architect in that place? So what would be your response in such a situation?
All right. Like I was talking to you earlier about how architecture being a response to surrounding and people. Let's take let's take people for instance. People's lifestyle, for instance. How many times have you seen or heard people complain that the moment they open the windows or balcony doors, they look at another bedroom's windows, they have to peek into a beautiful view of the next door neighbor's bedroom, even bathroom sometimes.
Right.
All right. So these are some of the things that people have been using, and that it has become such a thing that people have become habituated to this whole thing, and we have normalized these things.
Okay.
And my question is, why do you have to live like this?
Fair enough.
Your dream house, the way you want it, with all the desires and fantasies built into it, filled with fun, laughter, and happiness, within your budget, environmentally sustainable, your architect can do that for you.
Awesome. A contractor cannot, but definitely an architect can.
In India, there are certain rules and there are certain things which you have to do in order to become an architect.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
You need to have a degree, you need to pass an exam, you need to apply in front of the Council of Architecture. It's a government mandated body. And then only after that you will get an architecture practice license. And you need this license to call yourself an architect.
Brilliant.
In India, do you know what a qualification of a contractor is?
I don't even want to take a wild guess, but please enlighten me.
Unfortunately, in India, we don't have a qualification to become a contractor. How old is your son?
My son is 4 years old.
He can become a contractor.
You're joking, right? I hope
Sadly,
so.
no. Sadly, no.
Oh God. Oh God. Okay.
He
so
can call himself a contractor.
Probably
Yes.
I don't want a 4-year-old going around putting blocks. I'm happy if he plays with Lego, but no, not happy with him playing with my 1,000 square feet plot. Right. So let's say since you spoke about design and building an environment where if you're building a house, it should be a dream house, right? What if the designs that you make are disliked by your client, or let's say anybody? For example, if I walk into your office, we speak, give you my requirements, but I didn't like your design at the end of the day. How do you handle that kind of a situation?
Great. Okay. I'd like to tell you a bit of a story, and then I'll tell you how it transpired. So there was this client who was a seafarer, who was a marine engineer.
Okay.
We were working on his house for quite some time, and we made a few elevation options for him.
Okay.
And when we were supposed to discuss with him, so back then we used to make 3 options. Okay, so we made 3 options, and we made a beautiful presentation, and then we are presenting it to him. So like first option, the first look and feel, first render image. So we're just putting it on the screen, and then this guy goes like, Kannan, this is it.
Wow.
Let's close.
Okay.
And I was like, so there's a couple of more options. So we'll just
At least explore it.
let me finish my presentation so that you can you can make an informed decision with all the variables in hand. This guy was like, no, let's not waste our time. I got what I want.
I like this guy.
Let's close it. I love this guy.
I like this guy. I like his head.
Till date, it's been 4 years since we made the presentation. He hasn't even asked for those 2 renders, those 2 options.
Good.
So why I'm telling you the story is because we are able to, with surgical precision, we are able to give exactly what the client wants. And I'll tell you how we can do this.
Okay.
We have a very, very structured and unique process called AIMS. We call it Architectural Information Management System.
Right.
And we have a series of questions that we ask the client before we onboard them as a client.
Right.
So the questions are sometimes very, very invasive. For example, I would ask you, how many times do you pray in a day? What kind of footwear do you wear inside the house? And how often do you have parties in your house? Or whether do you have a dog? Or if you have a dog, where would the dog sleep? Does it sleep on the rug on the living room? Or does it sleep on the floor of your bedroom? Or does it sleep in the balcony? Or does it sleep on the bed with you? So all these little chunks of detail helps us define, tailor make the whole thing specifically for that particular client. And once we have all this input in hand, it is very, very easy. And after that, it's pure mathematics. It just comes to us in a way that, the clients very, very, very rarely say that, they don't like the design. And as of now, I'm thankful to the God for this, but as of now, we've never had a client who said they don't like our design. Yes, but if we give them a couple of options, they would always say, I liked this of that and that of this option. Sometimes that happens,
Right.
but never in these several years has it happened that, they actually disliked the way we look, because our design is a product of requirement, and the requirement comes from them. So something that came from them, how would they say no to that?
Brilliant. That is a beautiful way of going about, making sure that your clients are taken care of, as well as bringing in your expertise. So thank you, Kannan. I think this can, help a lot of people out there learn about their trade as well, and how they can apply the same in their trade, right? And or maybe in their profession as well.
Sure.
So with that, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you, what are the misconceptions about the entire architecture profession or that industry, if I may ask that?
There is this very common misconception that architects tend to increase the budget of your whole project. So you go to an architect, your budget of your house, it naturally goes up, and காசு இழுத்து விட்டுருவாங்க, செலவு இழுத்து விட்டுருவாங்க. That kind of a thinking has always been there. And what I would like to say to such people is, you have a specific requirement, and the requirement also comes with it is not just a physical requirement, or it is not just an emotional requirement, it is also a financial requirement.
Absolutely.
Because any building that is environmentally stable, and if it solves your problems, and if it has all the things that you require, and if it doesn't fit your budget, what good is it?
Absolutely.
If it is not affordable to you, if you cannot access it, it is of no use to anybody. So one of the most important things that we ask in our aims sheets is the budget, and we would like our clients to be very honest and forthright about it, because this is something which is going to define the entire way the building looks, feels, and works.
Right.
Okay. So when they have a budget in their mind, and we can precisely work on that budget, if it is a realistic budget, we sit with the clients to work out a realistic and feasible budget of their strength and of their likeness of their requirement, and we come up with a budget which they are agreeing to, and from that budget we start working on it.
Nice.
And more often than not, what we do is we also do value engineering after the design is done. We also do value engineering in such a way that, in case the final design overshoots the budget, in case, we design it and then we make the quantities, and then the quantities are given to the contractor makes the pricing, and then if the final number looks a little big, let's say it's 12% higher than what they thought. So what we do is we bring it back to our design table, and then we sort of value engineer it. We reimagine certain spaces in certain way. We work on the specifications and do it in such a way that we don't compromise on a lot of things. At the same time, we make sure that the budget is brought to a level where it is required. And not just that, there are certain other things which an architect can bring to the table. For example, in a recent project, we made this one really interesting thing. You've seen all these electrical lines coming to switch boxes, which are taken through the roof slab, and then it is brought down to the wall, right? Or through the wall and to the socket.
Yes.
What we did in this project was, we took the electrical lines from the floor, and then we took it up to the wall socket. Okay. So what it essentially does is, you have to take the wire to the slab, and then make it travel horizontally.
Correct.
Then to a point where it is required at the wall, then you have to drop it back again.
Right.
So it adds up to the length of the conduit and the wiring and the labor, of course, that is involved in doing that. So all this thing, we reduce this number significantly by running the thing through the floor. So we have heard of things like rat trap bonds and filler slabs and all the exposed walls and all the other cost-effective techniques. But then, have you ever imagined that just in wiring, such an innovation can save a lot of money in wiring? Not just wiring, starting from excavation to foundation to backfilling to masonry to flooring, there are every single aspects of your building construction phase where you can do a lot of value engineering and reduce the overall cost of the building. And this is where an architect comes in place. And I would advise the client to engage the architect right from the start of the beginning till the final handover, so that you can get the maximum benefit out of hiring that person. The fees that you pay him, you will get it multiple times back if you engage them in the right manner.
Superb. So look at the value, not at the money.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Superb. So Kannan, what are the current projects that you're working on right now?
Currently, we are working on several projects. Some of the big projects that we are working on currently are, we're working a couple of projects for L&T construction. One is police housing project in Assam, which it has housing units, it has barracks, it has administrative buildings, it has a school inside, it has an MLCP, it has an entire community built into it around a parade ground. That is one project. And we're also working on another cancer super specialty hospital in Guwahati.
Amazing.
Yes, and just yesterday, 3rd of March, one of our projects got launched, and it was all over the media in Hyderabad. So we were working on a 1,500 crore condominium project, and we are working in capacity of landscape architects for that project. We have been working on it for a year and a half now, and the project was launched just yesterday out to public.
Super.
And these are some of the big projects that we're working on, and some of the next level projects that we're working on are, we are currently working on a homestay project in a hill station, and we have also worked few warehouses and small level schools. And some of the B2C projects that we're working on are villas, residences, shops, play schools, clinics.
Brilliant. So basically the entire array that we can think.
Yes, small, medium, large, extra large.
Very nice. So Karan, so depending on these, of course there are various segments like you said, right? So how do you go about charging your client?
All right. So there is this Council of Architecture, like I told earlier in this podcast. Council of Architecture is a government body which was constituted in 1972, and that governs the way architects function in this country.
Okay.
And they have also laid down certain specific guidelines on the scale of fees that an architect can charge, also the kind of services that an architect can provide for the clients. The council states that you can charge your clients based on the percentage, charge your clients a certain percentage on the overall cost of the project.
Okay, so let's say
For example,
it's a 100 crore project. If your
you
fees
get a
is-
certain percentage
Right.
depending upon the nature of the project.
Right.
For example, for a residential building, for an individual residence, the council recommendation is 7.5% of the overall cost. Let's say your house is costing 1 crore, the fees of the architect would
7.5
be
lakhs.
7.5 lakhs, yes, plus taxes, of course. But imagine that your 1 crore house, you have marble in the house. You have Italian marble, which is costing about 550, 600, sometimes even 1,200 rupees a square foot.
Right.
All right. So that is on scenario A. And then on scenario B, you are putting ceramic tile flooring, which is costing you about 50 rupees a square foot,
1/10 of the cost.
1/10 of the cost. So
Right.
the difference in costing in terms of flooring alone is going to run in lakhs.
Absolutely.
And my fees in scenario A, since I'm charging you on percentage basis, is going to be higher because you chose marble.
Right.
And on scenario B, it's going to be much lesser because
I chose to go with ceramic tiles.
Exactly.
Which is 1/10. So
Exactly.
if I was probably owing you a lakh, I would probably only owe you 10,000.
yes. So
For the
as
same
an-
effort.
For the same effort. As an architect, the effort and the time that it takes for us to specify a ceramic tile or a vitrified tile or a marble flooring or
Right.
or any other flooring is the same.
Absolutely.
The amount of time it takes for us to design it, to go to the material place and select the material along with the client, it is the same process.
Absolutely.
But we would be paid differently based on the
Material chosen.
material chosen and the cost of the material.
Absolutely.
So that is why some of the architects are choosing to charge based on square footage,
Okay.
which is a more equitable way of charging your client based on the volume of your work that you do.
So built-up
volume
area,
of the built-up area, basically. So
Right.
volume of the work directly translates to the amount of time and effort that you put in. So it is proportional to the effort that you have taken, because end of the day for us time is money.
Absolutely.
So some of the architects choose to do it on square foot basis also.
Brilliant, Karan. So we understand how you go about charging, your clients, or rather for your what your fees structure is. 10 years, I think we spoke about your journey, right, from 2015 to 2025. What is your vision going forward?
Okay. Our vision is to create happy habitats for a healthy living. That is the vision which we had when we began the whole thing.
Brilliant.
It is a very broad, at the same time, it encompasses a wide variety of things that we wanted to accomplish. See, for example, we want our clients to have every single needs and desires met.
Right.
At the same time, we also want to address and solve every single problems and pain points that they might encounter. The ones that they have and the ones that they will have in the future, and the ones that they don't even think that they have, but they have.
Good.
All right. So these are the things that we would like to take it up and solve at our studio.
Thank you, Karan, for that such an an enlightening session, if I may. One final question, and that's probably for our audiences or younger audience specifically watching. If there was one bit of advice you would want to share today on this platform, what would that be to all the young aspiring architects and aspiring entrepreneurs as well?
Okay. So there is one thing which we had learned and which we are following very, very rigorously is that you will never rise up to the level of your dreams. You will always fall down to the level of your systems.
Brilliant.
Build your systems in such a way that there is always a safety net right below you, so that even if you fall, you can stand up back right at that second.
At every step. Brilliant. That is very, very well put. We do not rise to the levels of our goals, but fall to the levels of our systems, right? Yes, yeah, I hope I caught that correctly. But thank you, Kannan. It was an amazing session with you. I'm sure a lot of people picked up a lot of good things, and all the very best for your goals, your visions, and your journey.
Thank you, Sankesh. The pleasure was really mine.
It was amazing. Thank you, everyone.